After the age of 60, when work has receded into the past and the children have grown up and started families of their own, many people begin to feel a quiet emptiness in their hearts, not from a lack of material things, but from the absence of something that gives each day a sense of meaning. Some turn to books, others choose long walks, but there is also a simpler and more profound way: gardening. With just a small patch of soil, a few plant pots, or a sunny corner of a balcony, older adults can begin a deeply personal healing journey. Because with every touch of the earth, every drop of sweat falling onto the garden bed, or every early morning watching a flower bloom, it's not just the plants that are coming alive, but the inner world of the gardener that is awakening. The feeling of creating life, of nurturing something and watching it grow day by day, that is a silent yet radiant joy. Gardening doesn't have to be grand, nor does it require years of experience. All it takes is a heart that still stirs at the sight of a tender new sprout, and that alone is enough to begin. It's not only good for the heart, the joints, or sleep, but also helps cleanse emotions, ease the worries of old age, and bring back the feeling of living each day fully. Gardening is a way of telling life, I am still planting vegetables, joy, and peace in my soul. And from there, a healthy, purposeful, and inspired life can blossom, even when the hair has turned silver. What if relief from daily stress didn't come in a pill bottle, but grew quietly in your backyard? Many people spend years chasing after peace through books, apps, and therapies, yet overlook one of the most ancient forms of healing right beneath their feet. It's a familiar feeling, waking up with a head full of noise, anxiety quietly simmering beneath the surface, and the weight of another uncertain day pressing down. For many in their golden years, this emotional tension is not always loud, but it's persistent, gnawing gently at their energy and joy. You may not even realize how long it's been since you felt truly calm. Science now confirms what gardeners have known for centuries. Spending time with plants soothes the nervous system. Cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, drops when you dig your hands into the earth. Exposure to sunlight during light gardening boosts serotonin, the feel-good chemical in the brain. It's not just about the movements, watering, pruning, planting. It's about the mindful presence it invites. Gardening allows you to slow down, to breathe, to notice. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need a sprawling backyard. A few pots on a balcony, a raised bed by the driveway, or even a window herb garden can become your daily sanctuary. The healing doesn't come from the size of the space. It comes from the rhythm, the stillness, and the quiet connection to life. Start small. Spend 10 minutes each morning watering your plants while barefoot. Let your mind focus on the scent of soil, the texture of leaves, the slow dance of sunlight filtering through green. Over time, this ritual becomes a grounding force, gently drawing you back to the present moment. And in that present moment, something shifts. The world feels a little softer, the heart a little lighter. It's in these small acts of care, both for your plants and for yourself, that transformation takes root. Because maybe, just maybe, healing doesn't need to be loud or complicated. Sometimes it simply starts with a seed, a breath, and the courage to show up for another morning in the garden. Now that you've found this calm, let's explore how gardening goes beyond the emotional, how it quietly nurtures your physical heart as well. You might not see it as a workout, but your heart does. That slight increase in your breathing, the gentle thud of your heartbeat as you bend to pull a weed or carry a watering can across the yard, that's your cardiovascular system getting a subtle, consistent tune-up. Often we assume staying heart healthy after 60 means hours on a treadmill or lifting weights in a noisy gym. And while those routines work for some, they're not for everyone. The good news? Gardening offers a joyful, low-impact alternative that nurtures both your body and soul. Observe what happens when you're in the garden. You walk more than you realize, circling beds, fetching tools, moving between plants. You squat and stand, stretch and twist, dig and lift. Each of these movements engages your muscles and keeps your blood flowing. Over time, this consistent activity supports better circulation, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens the heart. Gardening isn't just physical, it's rhythmic, and that rhythm is key. Studies have shown that moderate physical activity, like gardening, can reduce the risk of heart disease by nearly 30%. That's not a gimmick or a marketing claim. It's biology. Your heart thrives on gentle, sustained movement. And unlike a short, intense workout, gardening encourages longer periods of light exertion, often without you even realizing it. Grow into a routine. Make gardening your daily dose of motion. Morning is ideal, not only for your plants but for your heart. As the sun rises and your neighborhood is still quiet, let the garden be your private gym. Warm up by pruning your plants, then lift a watering can as you would a dumbbell. Walk slowly as you inspect your beds, giving your lungs space to open and your heart a healthy tempo. Apply intention. Focus on your posture as you work. Engage your core when you lift. Balance your steps when you walk. These small, mindful tweaks can make each gardening session not just more effective, but safer and more satisfying. Keep a small journal to track your progress, not weight loss or calories, but how your body feels, how your energy shifts, how deeply you sleep after a day spent outdoors. Share your garden movement with others. Join a community garden or invite a neighbor to tend the soil with you. Heart health isn't only about circulation and muscle tone, it's about connection. Gardening with someone else adds a layer of joy and accountability, and laughter, as it turns out, is a heart exercise too. So the next time you're in your garden, remember, you're not just tending to plants, you're nurturing your heart. You're increasing blood flow, building endurance, strengthening muscles, and most importantly, doing it with purpose and peace. Gardening gives you freedom. Freedom from gym memberships, from rigid routines, from loud spaces filled with machines. Instead, it invites you to move with nature, to exercise in a space filled with life, and to care for yourself without pressure. And as your heart grows stronger with each passing day, you might just find yourself feeling younger, lighter, and more alive. Next, let's look at how gardening can shift what's on your plate and why growing your own food may be the key to better nutrition in your 60s and beyond. Simple choices shape our health in profound ways. For many people in their 60s, the desire to eat better grows stronger, but so do the challenges. Supermarket labels can be confusing. Fresh produce often lacks flavor, and processed food is always within easy reach. Yet there's a quiet revolution taking place, one that begins in the soil and ends on your plate. Understand this. When you grow your own food, even just a few vegetables or herbs, you're not just gardening, you're reclaiming control over your nutrition. You're making a statement that your health matters and that what enters your body should be as alive and vibrant as you feel inside. Notice how your eating habits shift once your garden begins to produce. A handful of cherry tomatoes becomes a sweet afternoon snack. Basil from your windowsill transforms a simple dish into something aromatic and nourishing. Instead of reaching for prepackaged meals, you reach for what you've grown. And there's a pride in that, a quiet satisfaction that makes even the simplest salad feel special. Studies show that people who garden regularly consume more fruits and vegetables. It's not surprising. When you've nurtured something from seed to harvest, you're far more likely to eat it, and to eat it fresh, raw, and unprocessed. This naturally boosts your fiber intake, supports digestive health, stabilizes blood sugar levels, and helps regulate weight. Vital factors for longevity and vitality after 60. Start with one edible plant. Maybe it's lettuce that grows fast and crisp, or herbs like parsley and mint that add flavor without calories. As your confidence grows, expand. Try root vegetables, leafy greens, maybe even berries if you have space. Choose crops based on what you enjoy eating, not just what's trendy. Your taste buds are your best guide. Use this as an opportunity to reconnect with the rhythm of real food. When you plant something, you wait, you tend to it, you learn patience, and in return, you receive nourishment. This process grounds you in the seasonality of eating, a wisdom we often lose in an era of year-round produce. Eating what's in season means you're consuming food at its nutritional peak. Your meals become simpler, fresher, and more aligned with nature's cycles. Nourish not just your body, but your sense of purpose. The act of preparing a meal with ingredients from your own garden is deeply affirming. It's an act of self-respect, a message to yourself that you are worth the effort. And when you share that meal with someone else, whether family, neighbor, or friend, it becomes a gift of health and love. Sustain this habit with small routines. Create a weekly ritual of harvesting. Set up a simple compost system to give back to the soil. Swap seeds with fellow gardeners to expand your variety. Let each part of the process, planting, harvesting, cooking, become part of a larger lifestyle, one that feeds you in every sense of the word. You don't need to be a chef. You don't need acres of land. What you need is the willingness to begin, the joy of experimentation, and the quiet knowing that you are capable of growing your own health. Because every bite you take from your garden is a declaration. I choose vitality, I choose intention, I choose life. And as your plate becomes more colorful and alive, so too does your body, so too does your spirit. From here, let's turn our attention to another benefit your garden quietly offers, the way it helps you stay strong, flexible, and more independent every single day. How do you keep your body agile and strong without setting foot in a gym? It's a question many ask, especially as the years pass and mobility becomes more precious. The answer, for many, is surprisingly close to home, right in the garden. Think about how often you move when tending to your plants. You bend to pull weeds. You kneel to plant seeds. You reach and stretch to prune overgrown branches or harvest from tall stalks. These natural, varied movements engage your muscles, strengthen your core, and promote joint flexibility, all without the structured monotony of formal exercise routines. But why is this important? After 60, muscle mass begins to decline naturally, a condition known as sarcopenia. Joints can stiffen, balance may falter. These changes make everyday tasks harder and increase the risk of falls. Yet it doesn't have to be that way. Regular, gentle movement is key to maintaining independence and confidence, and gardening provides it in a joyful, purposeful way. Here's the empowering truth. Your body can stay strong. Your joints can remain flexible. You're not at the mercy of age. With consistent, moderate activity, you can build resilience at your own pace, in your own backyard. Start with intentional gardening sessions. Warm up with light raking or sweeping, then move into planting or harvesting, activities that involve both upper and lower body coordination. Use a small stool to transition between sitting and standing, strengthening your legs and protecting your knees. Make lifting and carrying soil or watering cans part of your resistance training. These daily tasks double as functional fitness. You're not just exercising, you're moving with purpose. This makes it easier to stay consistent because you're not working out to burn calories or hit targets. You're caring for something alive, and in return, it cares for you. Build small habits. Stretch your arms and back before and after gardening. Use tools that encourage healthy posture. Alternate hands when pulling weeds or trimming to maintain balance. If you feel tension, pause. Gardening is a marathon, not a sprint, and your body deserves kindness. Let the garden teach you about balance, navigating uneven terrain, moving between soil beds, reaching high and low. All these actions naturally improve your coordination. Over time, this reduces your risk of injury and builds the kind of strength that supports everyday living, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, even standing up from a chair with ease. And here's something unexpected: the psychological boost. When your body moves with more ease, your confidence grows. You feel less fragile, more grounded. That mindset shift ripples outward into every part of life. You feel more willing to explore, to play with grandchildren, to travel, to engage with the world. Your garden then becomes not just a place of growth for plants, but a training ground for resilience. Every push of the shovel, every lift of a pot, every squat to pull a weed, these movements are building you up one moment at a time. As you look back after weeks or months of gardening, you'll notice stairs feel easier, joints ache less. Your balance has quietly improved. And the best part? It never felt like a workout. It felt like living. From the strength in your hands to the steadiness in your step, The garden gives back in ways no machine or program can replicate. And as your body grows more capable, your life grows more expansive. Now let's move from the body to the mind and explore how gardening nourishes not only your muscles, but your memory, your focus, and your brain's vitality. You might think of gardening as a hands-on hobby, but it's also a workout for your brain. Beyond the scent of flowers or the satisfaction of a ripe tomato, there's something deeper happening when you step into the garden. Your mind is quietly sharpening. Observe how your brain responds when you're planting a garden. Which vegetables should you plant? When do they thrive? What should go in the shade and what needs full sun? These aren't simple questions. They involve memory, problem solving, and long-term thinking. In essence, gardening requires you to stay mentally engaged, and that mental engagement is powerful. Understand this. Staying mentally active is one of the most effective ways to reduce cognitive decline. Researchers have found that older adults who garden regularly show better memory function and a lower risk of conditions like Alzheimer's disease. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Each time you plan, decide, adapt, and observe in the garden, your brain forges new connections. These neural pathways are your defense against forgetfulness and confusion. Nurture your curiosity. Let each plant be a new lesson. Why didn't the basil thrive last season? What does compost need to break down faster? When is the right time to prune roses? These small practical questions turn your garden into a lifelong classroom. The more you learn, the more you stretch your brain. And that ongoing learning is a powerful shield against cognitive decline. Set up small mental challenges in your gardening routine. Try to remember plant names without looking at the tags. Create a seasonal planting schedule from memory. Organize your tools by frequency of use and notice what that tells you about your habits. You don't need to overthink it. The very act of trying, adjusting, and remembering keeps your brain agile. Share your knowledge. When you teach someone else what you've learned, whether it's a grandchild, a neighbor, or a friend, you deepen your own understanding. Explaining how to start a compost bin or what makes a good tomato variety reinforces your memory and sharpens your communication. Plus, it creates a connection, and social interaction is also key to brain health. Apply creativity. The garden isn't just logic and facts, it's also design, aesthetics, and experimentation. Where should the lavender go for the best visual flow? Which colors should you combine this season? Mixing practical planning with artistic flair engages both sides of your brain, creating balance and stimulation that keeps your mind vibrant. Sustain this mental nourishment with gentle routines. Keep a garden journal to track what works and what doesn't. Sketch layouts. Write short notes about plant growth or weather patterns. These practices may seem small, but they build habits of observation, analysis, and reflection. The very skills that support lifelong brain health. Gardening, then, becomes more than a hobby. It's a brain game with real-world rewards. And unlike puzzles or apps, it's interactive, physical, and emotionally fulfilling. You don't just solve problems, you also see your solutions bloom. So as you care for your garden, remember that you're also tending to your mind. Each seed you plant, each plan you revise, each moment of attention you give, these are acts of cognitive self-care. And with every season, your mind grows a little sharper, a little clearer, a little more alive. And from the quiet power of a sharp mind, we move to another subtle strength that gardening builds: the deep human need for connection. Because sometimes the most nourishing things we grow aren't plants, they're relationships. Some gardens grow tomatoes and basil, others grow something even more essential: connection. While we often think of gardening as a solitary act, it has an incredible power to bring people together through shared work, shared stories, and shared harvests. Simple gestures can open doors. A wave to your neighbor while tending the front yard. An extra handful of cucumbers was offered over the fence. A casual question like, "Do you know how to keep these marigolds blooming?" Suddenly, you're not just growing plants, you're growing trust, conversation, and friendship. Understand the quiet magic in this. Human beings are wired for connection, especially in later years when social circles naturally shrink. Retirement, relocation, and loss can make people feel isolated. Yet isolation isn't just an emotional burden, it can affect physical health too, raising the risk of conditions like heart disease, depression, and even cognitive decline. Nurture this need for community in your gardening life. Join a local gardening club or community garden. These spaces aren't just about crops, they're about camaraderie. Swapping seeds becomes a moment of generosity. Asking for advice becomes a sign of respect. Tending a shared plot builds a sense of purpose and belonging, quietly reinforcing that you're part of something larger than yourself. Set intentions to use your garden as a bridge. Invite a friend over to tour your plants. Offer a young family a few herbs to start their own window garden. Host a simple garden morning where neighbors bring coffee and chat under the sun. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Connection thrives in simplicity. Apply awareness to the way gardening teaches empathy. Watching a plant struggle and recover, noticing how different species support each other. These small lessons reflect human relationships. You begin to see your fellow gardeners not as strangers, but as companions on a shared journey. And in every interaction, no matter how small, your heart opens a little more. Sustain these bonds with rituals. Maybe it's a monthly seed swap or a shared compost system with a neighbor. Maybe it's a friendly competition for the tallest sunflower. Whatever it looks like, let your garden be more than rows of plants. Let it be a web of relationships built one conversation at a time. You might be surprised by what grows. A new friend, a sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of your community, all born from soil, water, and a willingness to share. Because in the end, it's not just about what you grow for yourself, it's about what you cultivate with others. And the love, laughter, and connection that bloom along the way may be the most nourishing harvest of all. From here, we turn to the most profound benefit of all, the way gardening helps us rediscover our purpose and meaning, one seed, one season, one hopeful moment at a time. It's a quiet question that often arises in later life. What am I here for now? After decades of careers, parenting, and daily hustle, retirement or life transitions can leave a surprising emptiness. Without deadlines or people depending on you, it's easy to feel unmoored. But meaning doesn't vanish with age. It simply changes form. And in the garden, it often begins to bloom again. Have you ever felt like your days were blending together, each one passing without a real sense of accomplishment? Like you're busy but not fulfilled? That feeling isn't uncommon, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's a natural result of change. But here's the good news. Even a single act of planting can shift your perspective entirely. Why? Because gardening gives you something real to nurture. It requires patience, consistency, and hope. You commit to a process, even if the results are weeks or months away. And in doing so, you begin to feel purposeful again. There is something deeply affirming about watching life grow through your care. Every sprouting leaf is a reminder, you made this happen. This isn't just poetic thinking. Research shows that having a sense of purpose can significantly improve physical and mental health in older adults. It boosts resilience, reduces anxiety, and even correlates with a longer lifespan. When you wake up knowing there's something waiting for you outside, something you've committed to, something that depends on your attention, your day starts with intention, and the beauty of gardening is that it offers this purpose in small, manageable doses. You don't need to overhaul your life, just plant something. Water it, tend to it, watch, learn, repeat. Over time, you'll begin to notice something changing, not just in your garden, but in yourself. The days feel more structured, your mind is more focused, your spirit is more grounded. You might start imagining new things. A garden expansion, a small greenhouse, teaching others what you've learned. Maybe even selling herbs at a local market or sharing produce with a neighbor in need. These dreams aren't just nice ideas, they're signs of your purpose reawakening. Let yourself be surprised by what inspires you. Maybe it's the thrill of the first bloom. Maybe it's the way your body feels after a morning outdoors. Maybe it's the smile of someone you gifted a handful of homegrown mint. Whatever it is, let that spark guide you. And when doubts creep in, when the weeds are overwhelming, or the tomatoes won't ripen, remember that even in struggle, purpose thrives. Gardening teaches resilience through its very nature. Some things die, others survive. You learn, adjust, and keep going. That's the purpose in action. Let your garden reflect the life you still want to live. Vibrant, intentional, and filled with renewal. It is never too late to begin again, never too late to be needed, never too late to matter. So as you walk through your garden, know this. Every seed you've planted is more than a plant. It's a promise, a quiet declaration that life still holds meaning, that your presence still shapes the world around you. And in that simple truth lies something profound. Hope, not just for your garden, but for yourself. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering the wonderful benefits of gardening after the age of 60. Every video and every topic shared on this channel comes from the heart, with the hope of not only providing knowledge, but also inspiring you to live more positively and fully each day. And your presence and support are the greatest motivation for us to keep going. If you found today's content helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming videos. You can also share this video with your family and friends. Who knows, it might be the meaningful gift they've been needing. Most importantly, I encourage you to start taking action. No need to wait for tomorrow or for everything to be perfect. Just one small pot on the balcony, one little corner of a garden where you can touch the soil, breathe in the fresh air, and let your soul begin to heal. Sometimes the most profound changes begin with the simplest steps. Wishing you good health, vibrant energy, and endless joy in each moment of life, where you are not only growing plants but also cultivating life, hope, and meaning within yourself. See you again in our next videos. And always remember, you deserve a life that is gentle, fulfilling, and filled with the green hues of love.